talk about I-cord. Often in my gnomes I have a two-color I-cord, and so I have a tutorial for that, but I don't have a tutorial just for plain I-cord. So I've got one made here to show you at the end how to fasten it off. But let's talk about how to do just a very simple I-cord. We are going to, I'm going to make a slip knot and do a long tail cast on. It doesn't matter what method you use to cast on. I just go to long tail for almost everything. So I'm going to cast on 4 stitches. The key with I-cord is you're never going to turn your work. You're never going to see the purl bumps. When you have worked across something and it's on the new needle, you simply slide it back across so it's at the left needle tip. You pick up the yarn from here, and even though it's attached to this stitch, we're going to knit this stitch. By doing that over and over, and then I'm just going to knit across as usual. What we're going to do is we're going to force the fabric to bend around the back and follow that yarn. So you can either at this point, like I said, slide it across, or if you don't have DPNs on you and you've only got straight needles, or you're using circulars that are really long, instead of sliding the yarn, you can just kind of hop it back, those 4 stitches back, and then progress, as long as you can get it back to being lined up with the left needle tip. And again, we're going to go from here, and now we're going to knit, which is going to, by doing that, we force that stitch to come around and meet. It's not perfect. The back of I-cord is sometimes a little bit wonky. It doesn't have the exact same thing as other knitting, but blocking helps a lot, especially when you're using a natural yarn like wool that wants to kind of learn what you want to teach it when it's wet. So that's I-cord. You slip it, you knit it. You slip it, you knit it. Of course, you could purl it if you were doing a purled I-cord. We are not this time. When you have done a few rows, as you work, you may just kind of pull on it a little bit, and all of a sudden you'll notice, oh wait, that is forming a tube. So I'll do one more. We slip, we knit. There we go. And whoops, I split the stitch. And that's all there is to it. Work this particular I-cord until it is 2 1/4 inches, or let me just quickly look. 2 1/4 inches is about 6 centimeters. And one thing to know, in Canada, we are both metric and imperial, so our brains are very mixed up. So I am metric for a lot of things, but for knitting, I am imperial because, of course, a lot of patterns come from America. So I'm always a bit slow on, but I'm 100% metric for needles. So isn't that funny? Anyways, here is my beginning of my I-cord. I'm going to put that away. Now I've knit this till it is the required distance. I've cut the yarn. And what we need to do is we need to fasten this off, and then I'll show you how to deal with that end. All right, so we're going to take the yarn with the cut end here, we're going to put it on a yarn needle, and then just the way we'd work it, so we would come around so we'd push it to the left needle tip, and then we're going to come in and we're going to go through those stitches just as if the same order in which we'd knit them, and then we're just going to slide the needle through each one of those, however you want to do that. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to pull it through. And again, that just kind of gives a final bend to that I really like. So we're going to leave this for sewing on, because why sew it in and then you need to grab some more yarn for sewing in. But what about this one? This one we don't need for sewing to anything. And so what we're going to do is we are going to simply, I like to not go right in where that yarn comes up. I go over a little bit and I shove my needle up, 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 all the way through. And then I pull it a little taut so the I-cord shrinks up a little bit. Holding it between my thumb and my finger, holding this between those 2 fingers. I trim it really close to the I-cord. It'll pop in, that end is gone. Now we have an I-cord arm ready for the next step. If you're using regular I-cord for another pattern, this works just as well. Just do the I-cord as long as you need it. I hope this tutorial helped. I'm Sarah Shira from Imagine Landscapes Designs, and I wish you happy knitting.